Sanatana Dharma 101, Hindu International Hindu University, Class 4. It is going to be on further elaboration of Sanatana Dharma. So Sanatana Dharma में उसका आदि और अंत हम जैसे मनुष्य के ग्रहण में नहीं है. So that is known as Sanatana Dharma. And the mool for Sanatana Dharma is the Supreme Parameshwar himself. So how does he do it? He shows it from Yuga Yuga. He takes avatara, incarnation. Sanatana Dharmis believe in incarnation. So we believe that the God himself comes, and then based on Dharma, that is his textbook. He maintains, based on Veda, the textbook, he maintains the Dharma. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanihi bhavati apyuttanam adharmasya. So the Lord Krishna himself says, whenever there is adharma, he is going to come. And in whatever way he came, he preached the good way of living. And that good way of living is known as Sanatana Dharma. Good way of living is Dharma. And since he preached from age old time, it is known as Sanatana Dharma. So first and foremost, Yasya Nisvasito Vedaha. This is the phrase found in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. The Upanishad is the end part of each Veda, which we'll see today. And there are two major Vedas, bigger Upanishads. The two bigger Upanishads are Chandokyam and Brihadaranyakam. The name itself says Brihat Mane, very big. Chandogya is the Upanishad attached to Samaveda. Our Brihadaranyaka Upanishad is attached to Shukla Yajurveda. In that, it is clearly stated, Yasya Nishvatito Vedaha, Rig Yajur Samo Tarvaha. Even Purana Itihasa are all the Adi, the Mool for Purana Itihasa, everything is Brahma. Everything is the Supreme Almighty. So, then Veda, what is Veda? The textbook for Sanatanis. It's the gospel for Sanatanis. Vidagyane iti Veda. Vida means with to verb. Vid means is a verb. So vid means in the verb form. Jnane, vid jnane. So that's why we call Vijnana. Vida means to know. Kya? We need to know Jnana. Kya Jnana hai? Ishwar ka Jnana. Atma ka Jnana. You have to understand Atma Swarupam, Ishwar Swarupam. What is known as Artha Panchaka? Artha Panchaka kya hai? Paramasa Swarupam, Atma Swarupam, Phala Swarupam, Virodhi Swarupam, and then the root. Upaya Swarupam, Paramatma Swarupam, Atma Swarupam, Phala Swarupam, Upaya Swarupam, Virodhi Swarupam. So this is what it is. So once you know Paramatma, once you know about Atma, and then the route to attain the Atma is Upayam. And what is the Purushartha? What is the Phala? So that varies according to Darshana. Right? That is known as Phala Swarupa. And what is the barrier? The barrier is Virodhi Swarupa. This is known as Artha Panchaka. These are given in Veda. You have to pick it up from the Veda. So that kind of a jnana you get. And the entire Upanishad is known as Veda Anta. Veda ka Anta bhag mein hai. That is known as Upanishad. That Upanishads gives mostly about 100% about Paramatma. Who is Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma? Who is the Parama Purusha? He is Satyam. Satyam mane truth. That is the Laukika meaning. Satyam means eternal, which cannot be changed. And he is totally Jnana Swarupa. Satyam Jnanam Anantam. He is everywhere. Brahma. What is Brahma? Brahmam. Brahmam is this. Brahma is the Brahma, the Chaturmukh. Whereas Brahmam, that means supreme. Always you have to say supreme. Akbar. Like that they say no. So in Urdu, Allah means it is the name of the supreme God. Similarly, Brahmam. So Brahman mane the supreme God. It has different name depending upon whether you are a Saivite, Vaishnavite, Sakta, or Saurav, Saumara, whatever it is. It depends. Ganapatya. So it varies. But the Brahman is supreme. Ekam Sat Vipra Bahuda Vadanti. This phrase you should know. Ekam Sat. Satyam means here eternal. The eternal thing, the supreme thing is only one. Vipra. Vipra means people. Knowledgeable people. Bahuda Vadanti. They speak in different names. Okay. So they speak in different name. Okay. So, Ekam Sati Vipra Baguda Vadanti. So that comes in Rig Veda. That is the base. Then, uh, then it tells the way to attain the Brahma. So that is known as Vidajnane. Earlier days in Satya Yuga, Satya and Krita Yuga, both are same name. Satya or Krita Yuga. Then comes Treta Yuga. Then comes Dwapara Yuga. Then comes Kali. Kali Yuga is approximately 4 lakh 32,000 years is Kali Yuga. 4 lakh 32 years, something of that sort. Double that is Dwapara Yuga. That means it will be 8 lakh something. Then double that is Treta Yuga, 16 lakh. And double that will be 32 lakhs will be the Krita Yuga or Satya Yuga. People had long memory. People had long life. So, so in Krita Yuga, Satya Yuga, which is Suddha Sattvam, that's why everything was pure, everything was done righteously. There is no difference. There is no thief. There is no poor people. Nothing there, because everything was Suddha Sattva. Yeah, Lord is Suddha Sattva, so people inherited his qualities. So in Krita Yuga or Satya Yuga, everything was perfect. So the entire Veda corpus was only one. So if you ask people living in Satya Yuga, they will say Veda means only one Veda. But then, as Bhagavad says, Kaloho Dukkha Nide Rajan. So, this when Parikshit was on Ganga that day, then Sukha Brahma says, this Kali is so pop. Hey Rajan, he is addressing the Parikshit Raja. He says, Hey Rajan, Kaloho Dukkha Nidhi. This is full of distress. So what you do? You have to do good things, and then you have to, the simplest thing in Kali Yuga is to Harinama Smarana Karo. Dhyayan Krite, very important sloga, you have to understand. So, what you should do, the simplest form is Bhakti. Even that is difficult. So, just sing the name of God. Hari Kirtan Karo. Okay. But then, in Satyalok, when everything was pristine, righteousness ruled the Satyalog or Satyayug. Then what they do, they use lot of dhyan. They just did. How do you understand God? Srotavyaha, Mantavyaha, Nididhyasavyaha. That too, Brihadaranyakam said, how do you understand God? Nididhyasana. ध्यान में दो, ध्यान में रहो, ध्यान में रहो, ध्यान में रहो. वो डिफिकल्ट है. इवन द्वापर युग में डिफिकल्ट था, कल युग में बहुत डिफिकल्ट. You cannot focus your mind. That Ramayana tells this. Ramayana, Dasharatha says, Chalan hi manushyanam matihi. Beautiful phrase. Dasharatha says, Chalanem eva manushyanam mati. Mati means mind. Chalana eva. It is flickering. It is wavering. So you cannot sit and do dhyana in which log? In Kali Yuga. Even in Dwapara Yuga it is difficult. Chalaneva. Chalan means fluctuation. Chalana. Chalaneva manushyanam matihi. Note down this phrase. Said by Dasharatha. When he was trying to do the Pattabhisheka, Yavaraja Pattabhisheka for Rama, he says, why you have to do it tomorrow? So he was originally planned to do it in Chaitra Mas, in Vasanta Rutu, Chaitra Mas, Pushya Nakshatra mein. So राम का यवराज्य पट्टाभिषेक तो पहले समय तो चैत्र मास में, वसंत ऋतु में, चैत्र मास में, पुष्य नक्षत्र में होना चाहिए था. वो नहीं होगा, नहीं वो पड़ा. क्यों? That's why he says, I cannot keep on postponing. We don't know, because people are fickle minded. Chalaneva manushyanam matihi, writes Valmiki that this is the phrase Dasharatha used to tell his Sabha. So that is the reason I am rushing to do the Pattabhishek tomorrow itself. Okay. So people are very fickle minded. In that case, how do you attain Brahman? In Satyalog, in Krita Yuga, Satya Yuga, Krita Yuga, mein dhyan. People were able to do Nididhyasanam. Nididhyasanam means totally imbibed in God. Only think about Him. But then Veda says, how do you know Him? Srotavya. Go listen. Mantavya. Then digest. Once you understand listening, then you digest, then you become engrossed. That is known as Nididhyasanam. You cannot do Nididhyasanam here. So, then what you do? Dhyayan krite. Then people were not able to do that much dhyanam in Treta Yuga, where Rama was born. Yajan Tretaya. Then they did lot of karma, particularly Aswamed. It is said that Rama did many times Aswamedha Yaga. Dasaratha did Aswamedha Yaga. As part of Aswamedha Yaga, he did Putrakama Ishti using Rishyasringa Muni. So people used to do lot of yajna in Treta Yuga. Dhyayan krite yajan tretayam dwapare archayan. Just do archan puja in Dwapara Yuga. Then all even puja is becoming difficult in Kali Yuga. Yadapnoti tadapnoti kalau. Whatever you get in Krita Yuga, whatever you get in Treta Yuga, whatever you get in Dwapara Yuga using all the other process, Yadapnoti tadapnoti kalau sankirtya kesavam. Just sing the name of God. Kesavam means it normally Rudhi. By Rudhyam means general understanding. By general understanding, Keshava means Narayana. But the Vyutpati is Keshavaha Klesha Nasanaha. What is Keshava? It can be anything. If you pray to Lord Shiva and you are attached to him, he is going to take away your distress. So Keshava, generally Rudhyam. By Rudhyam, it means Hari, Narayana. But you can also argue, okay, I am a Shiva Bhakta, so if I pray to Shiva, would I not get it? You may get it because you can use Sanskrit is beautiful. You can take the root meaning. Keshavaha mane klesha nasanaha. So, yadapnoti tadapnoti kalau ke sankirtya keshavam. Okay, so this is a very important sloga. ध्यायन् कृते यजन् त्रेतायां द्वापरे अर्चयन् यदाप्नोति तदाप्नोति यदाप्नोति कैसे मिलता है कृत युग में ध्यान करके क्या क्या फल मिलता है त्रेता युग में याग यज्ञादि करके क्या क्या फल मिलता है द्वापर युग में अर्चन पूजा करके क्या क्या मिलता है कलयुग में जस संकीर्तनम करने से ही मिलता है ठीक है तो यजन कृते यजन ध्यान या सो यजन त्रेतायाम ध्यान कृते ध्यानम यजन त्रेतायाम द्वापरे अर्चयन् ध्यायन् कृते यजन् त्रेतायां द्वापरे अर्चयन् यदाप्नोति तदाप्नोति कलौ संकीर्त्य केशवम्. So why I said this is, you can see the procedure to attain God is becoming simple and simple and simple. So what happened? Because people dharana sakti has become weakened over the yuga. So in Satya Yuga, the entire Veda was a single thing. Then as the Yuga changed, so people were not able to even study something. So what they said, the Vyasa is nothing but who is Vyasa? Vyasaya Vishnu Rupaya. He is the incarnation of Vishnu. Vyasa himself says in Bhagavata. So the supreme God in Badrikashram came and then first he divided the Vedas. into three or four, but predominantly three Vedas, Trahi. So he divided the Vedas into three portions and then did the fourth portion. And then he assigned one of his disciples to propagate the each Veda. So Veda Vyasa, who is nothing but Vishnu Swarupa, came and then he divided the Veda so that people can grasp at least one Veda or two Veda or three Veda, depending upon their intellect, capacity, Shraddha. Okay. So how did he do that? Then he picked four disciples. He picked four disciples to propagate the Vedas, which were divided into four. So he is known as Vyasa. Vyasam mane division or Vyasam mane making it in a suitable form. It Vyas mane essay, but Vyas mane Vibhag. So Veda, the Vyasa who did Vibhag is known as Veda Vyasa. Each yuga mein there will be different Vyasa. For Dwapara Yuga, this Vyasa is known as Krishna Dvaipayana. The original name for that person is known as Krishna Dvaipayana. But since he did the Vibhaga of Veda into four, predominantly three, but four also you can take it. Additionally, he did it as an Anushankikam. Anushankikam means agenda, annexed. Okay, so the first thing he did was Stuti. So those portions of Veda which are used to praise the Devas, eulogize them, is known as Ruch. Ruch mane Stuti. In the poetic form is known as Rig Veda. Okay. Then the person, the Rishi, who was in charge of propagating the Rig Veda is known as Paila. Paila. P-I-L-A. Paila Rishi. Then the Rishi who was in charge of propagating the Yajurveda was known as Vaisampayana. Then the Rishi who was in charge of propagating Samaveda is Jaimini. And the Rishi who was in charge of propagating Atharva Veda, he is called by two names, Atharvangirasa Rishi, Atharvangirasa Rishi or Sumantu. Since the last portion of Veda, which is basically majority of it is Rigveda plus Yajurveda, Atharva Veda, which was propagated by a Muni called Atharvangirasa Muni or Sumantu. And then there's a story happened. So the Vaisampayana was preaching Yajurveda. Yaju means yaga. Yuj means to group the people. Yuj Sangati Karane. Sangati mane mix, bring people together. Yuj mane Sangati Karane. Yuj mane Deva Pujayam. Rich mane Archanam. Yuj mane Sangati Karanam. Because you have to do yaga yajna means you have to bring people together. Okay. Yuj Sangati Karane. Yuj Deva Pujayam. Sama is nothing but singing the Rig Veda in meter. And then when this person, this Rishi, his name was Vaisampayana, he was teaching Yajurveda. He had a very brilliant disciple called Yajnavalka. He was a very big disciple. So, this Yajnavalka was very good, very big tapasvi. So Vaisampayana was asked by a Raja to come and do some sacrifice, havan for him. So Vaisampayana could not go. So he sent his student Yajnavalka to do the yajna. But that Raja was disobedient. So this Yajnavalka came back without performing the yajna. But the Guru got upset that the duty of a Brahmana is to do the job. So he said, I'm not going to teach you anymore. Because the student was also disobedient. Gamandita. Kisko? Yajnavalka ko. So then he said, I will not teach you from now on, Vaisampayana said. But then many of the students went to Vaisampayana, jealousy everywhere. Already Yajnavalkya was a bright student. So his counterpart, Sahapatis, got jealous and they thought this is the time I should use to ditch this Yajnavalkya. So they went to the Guru and then fanned the fire. Hey Guru, you are not going to teach him from now on. But what happened to the things you have taught him? All this guy grasped it. So what are you going to do? Then because Vaisampayana was a tapasvi, so do Yajnavalkya. The Vaisampayana said, "Ye Yajnavalkya, you give back the knowledge which I have taught." So Yajnavalkya also was obeying the Guru. He just spit everything so that he will forget everything. So he spit, vomited the Veda. Then Veda is important. You cannot go it waste. So this Vaisampayana asked other students, changed them to a bird called Tittiri. That Tittiri can eat saliva. So he changed all. This is a story. But what it tells is the importance of Veda. You should take it like that. Did it happen? Assume it happened, it didn't happen. That's immaterial. But to say that you have to be obedient, that is important. That is what Sanatana Dharma is. Acharya Devo Bhava. The Acharya said, go and do that havan. But Yajnavalkya, out of command, did not do. Okay? So he spit all the Veda he received from Vaisampayana. But then this Guru is also good. So he made sure that the Veda, what he taught, doesn't go waste. So he transformed many of his Shishya to Tittiri Pakshi. So these Pakshis went in the amber and then ate the Veda, which was spit by Yajnavalkya. Since that Veda, which was spit by Titri Pakshi, that portion of Yajurveda is known as Taitriya. Hence the name Taitriya Shaka. Now there are four Vedas. Four Vedas now have different divisions. That is known as Shaka. Then what Vyasa did? So he divided the Vedas into four. Then it became difficult to even grasp one Veda. So they further divided it. And that division is known as Shaka. And that division of Veda which was split by Titri Pakshi is known as Taitriya Shaka of Yajurveda. So that is known as Yajurvedantargata Taitriya Shaka. This belongs to Yajurveda, but one section of Yajurveda which is split by this Titri Pakshi is known as Taitriya Shaka. Taitriya Shaka is the most prevalent Shaka in Dravida Desh, in all South India, whether it's in Rajamahendrapuram, whether it's in Krishna Godavari Delta, or Kaveri Delta, or Tungabhadra Delta, or even in Kerala. The most prominent Veda in southern India is Taitriya Shaka of Yajurveda. And then Yajnavalkya lost his Veda, but he was a Brahman. So his duty is to learn Veda. So what he did, he prayed to the god sun. And the Surya Devata. Badhram karne vishruniyama deva, badhram pasye makshabir yajatra. This is the first Panchati of Aranyaka, which is used in the Aruna Prasna. On sun. So the Surya Devata was prasanna hua. Then he came in the form of a horse. The Sanskrit name for horse is Vaji. Then he preached Yajnavalkya. Sun god came in the form of a horse and he preached. So that portion, because it came from sun, it's known as Shukla Yajurveda. I'll tell you the difference. But since that the form of sun god was in the form of horse, Gode, it's known as Vajasiyam Vajasiyam, Vajasani, Vajasaniyam, because it came from sun in the form of horse. So, Shukla Yajurveda is also known as Vajasaniyam. Took the name from the horse, Vaji. So, Vajasaniyam. And that portion, the other portion of Yajurveda is known as Krishna, opposite of white is black. So, Krishna Yajurveda. So Krishna Yajurveda is propagated now by Vaisampayana. Shukla Yajurveda is propagated by Yajnavalkya. Okay. Rigveda is propagated by Phaila. Yajurveda was divided into Vaisampayana, who propagated Krishna Yajurveda. And the Shukla Yajurveda is propagated by Yajnavalkya. And Krishna Yajurveda is more prominent in Dravida Desha. Shukla Yajurveda is prominent in Maharashtra and northern part, Varanasi and things like that. Shukla Yajurveda is from. That is the reason when they built this Ayodhya temple for Prana Pratishtha, the person who did that Pratama Agni, no, Advaryu, he belonged to Shukla Yajurveda. Maharashtrians and Varanasi Pandits are predominantly Shukla Yajurvedi. And Gujarat, Kashmir, West Bengal, Kerala, some portion of Tamil Nadu, they have more Samavedis. And Rigvedis are predominantly in the eastern side, Puri, Bengal, Assam, they are Rigvedis. That is the reason when Adi Shankara Bhagavad Pada established Amnaya Mats, he dedicated Puri Mat for Rigveda propagation. And Sringagiri on Tunga Tir, तुंगा नदी तीर में श्रृंगगिरी है कर्नाटक देश में, वो यजुर्वेद का. और गुजरात इज नोन फॉर अथर्व वेद. सो द्वारका में तीसरा पीठ, उसका मुख्य वेद तो अथर्व वेद और कश्मीर तो सामवेद. And the place where Shukla Yajurveda is more prominent is in northern Karnataka, known as Gokarna. And Varanasi, Gokarna, Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, they all have Shukla Yajurveda. Okay. So the Rigveda was propagated by the Rishi named. These are very important. Phaila. Then the Yajurveda is divided into Shukla Yajurveda, Krishna Yajurveda. Shukla Yajurveda is by Yajnavalkya. Krishna Yajurveda is by Vaisampayana. Then comes Samaved. सामवेद का प्रथम प्रिसेप्टर है तो जैमिनी, वो दे आर ऑल व्यास का शिष्य. देन अथर्ववेद इज बाय अ ऋषि कॉल्ड अथर्वांगिरस ऋषि और सुमंतु. Okay, these are the. Then Purana and Itihasa, who Vyasa gave in charge of Purana and Itihasa to a rishi called Romaharsha. And Romaharsha had a son or disciple known as Suta. So that's what you will see in all Purana. Suta Pauranika. Pauranika means Pravachanakarta. उसका नाम है सूता, उसका बाप है रोमहर्षा. रोमहर्षा was the disciple of Vyasa. So these 5 names you should know: Paila, Vaisampayana, Yajnavalkya, Jaimini, Sumantu, Athava, Atharvangirasa Rishi, and then Romaharsha. Then Romaharsha gave the text to his son called Suta. Then this Suta Pauranika then propagated Puranas in Naimisaranyam, Nimshar, हरियाणा के पास है ना निमशार, उसमें ये propagate किया सौनकादि महर्षि, all the rishis headed by Shaunaka. So this is how Puranas propagated. व्यास व्यास और व्यास का बाप 18 पुराणास लिखा. व्यास का बाप का नाम है पराशर महर्षि. पराशर महर्षि wrote प्रथम पुराण, known as Vishnu Puran. It has 6,000. It has 6,000 phrases. Vishnu Puran is made out of 6,000 phrases. Each phrase is 32 letters, equal to Anushtup. So 6,000 times 32. Vishnu Puran was Prathama Puran, written by Parasara Maharishi. और व्यास ने 17 अदर पुराण लिख दिया. उसमें बृहद पुराण तो ब्रह्मांड पुराण, स्कंद पुराण, दोस आर वेरी बिग पुराण. So he taught all these to Romaharsha. Romaharsha taught all these to Suta Pauranika. Suta Pauranika propagated this to many rishis in Naimisaranya or Nimshar, and those group of rishis were headed by a rishi called Shaunaka. So you say Shaunaka Adi Rishiyo. And these were only told Ucharana, Anu Ucharana. It was not written Ucharana, Anu Ucharana. That is the reason Vedas are known as Amnaya. They came tradition by only listening, memorizing. Okay. So the Vedas were divided into four. Yajurveda was divided into two major groups. Then people were not able to grasp even then. Then other rishis like Paila, Sumantu, Vaisampayana, Yajnavalka, Jaimini, then classified and divided those. Vaisampayana divided Yajurveda. What Yajurveda? Krishna Yajurveda. So he divided Krishna Yajurveda. He divided Krishna Yajurveda into 21 shaka. No. He divided Krishna Yajurveda. Wait. I'll start from Rigveda. So Rigveda was Paila. Then he thought his Shishyas were not able to memorize. So what he did, he again divided this Krishna Rigveda into 24 shakas. And out of 24 shakas, he gave it to each rishi. Rigveda divided into 24 shaka. Shaka means branch. So he gave it to 24 rishis. Then in the Kali Yuga, present day, we don't have those 24. All we have is only two branches of Rigveda. That's all left. And those two branches are Shakala or Bashkala. Shakala or Bashkala. And the most prevalent Rigveda that is totally prevalent is only one. Text form you have two, Shakala and Bashkala. But that is well pronounced and well narrated today in India is only one Shaka, which is known as Shakala Shaka. But the text is available for Bashkala. But the remaining 22, we don't know where it went. Lupt. So Rigveda was having 24 shakas. In Kali Yuga, there were only two shakas left, Shakala Shaka and Bashkala. But now we only have very few people reciting Bashkala. But the prevalent one now is only Shakala Shaka Rigveda. Now Yajurveda has two main portions called Krishna Yajurveda or Shukla Yajurveda. So Vaisampayana was entrusted with Krishna Yajurveda. Then he divided Krishna Yajurveda into 86 shakas. See, I tell memory. You people have to understand this. I just do by memory. And Shukla Yajurveda, Yajnavalka divided into 15 shakas. Krishna Yajurveda was divided into 86 shakas. Shukla Yajurveda is divided into 12 shakas. So 86 plus Shukla Yajurveda 15 shaka. So 86 plus 15 is 101. So originally how many shakas were there for Rigveda? 24. Then Yajurveda, Krishna Yajurveda 86, Shukla Yajurveda 15. 86 plus 15 is 101. Then what are the things that is left in Krishna Yajurveda? The prominent one is Taittiriya Shaka, as I told you. And then the other text which is also practiced somewhere here and there, not prevalent in northern India, is known as Maitra. It's known as Maitrayani. The prevalent Yajurveda is Taittiriya. Then the other one is known as Maitrayani, which is recited. But these are the only two recited, but predominantly it is Taittiriya Krishna Yajurveda. The other one which is recited but not as good, as big as Taittiriya is known as Maitrayani. And there are texts for two more. Of all the 86 shakas, we have only 4 left. That too, only 2 in recitation form. The other 2 shakas where we have text and people, 1 or 2 people may be there, that is known as Kataka Shaka. Another one is Kapishtala Kataka. The same, first, the third one is Kataka, the fourth one is Kapishtala Kataka. So out of that 86 shakas, only 4 are left. Out of 4, only 2 are in practice. And out of 2, the most prevalent is Taittiriya. Okay. Now Shukla Yajurveda. How many shakas were there for Shukla Yajurveda? 15 shakas. Out of 15 shakas, only 2 are left now. The one is Madhyandini Shaka, another one is Kanva Shaka. In North India, it is predominantly Madhyandina Shaka. In South India, it is Kanva Shaka. And in Atharva Veda, it had 12 shakas. But now left is 1 or 2. And the most prevalent Atharva Veda, it was totally gone. Only in the last 50 years, they were able to get this Atharva Veda propagated. But because there was only one Brahman in Gujarat, tradition wise, 50, 60 years back, the whole of India had only one Brahman, Gujarati Brahman in Gujarat, who knew Atharva Veda. And that shaka which is more prevalent in Atharva Veda is Pippalada. So in total, how many shakas are there? And Samaved has 1000 shaka. And out of 1000 shakas, see the plight, only 3 shakas are left. The most prevalent is Kautuma Shaka. The second one is Ranayani. Third one is Jaimini. You see? Krishna Vajurveda has only 4. Rigveda has 2. Krishna Vajurveda has 4. Shukla Vajurveda has 2. Atharva Veda has 1 or 2. And Samaveda has only 3. In total, originally, so you take 24 plus 101 plus 1000 plus 12 equal to 1037 shakas were there. Today we are left with 12 or 14. 1%. Originally we had 1037 shakas. Today we are left with 12 or 14. That's all. And when the Vijayanagara Empire was established by Harihara and Bukka, their minister was Vidyaranya. He came and he gave the Vyakhyana, Bhashya, for all the Vedas, whatever he can find. So that is known as Shayana Bhashya. Vidyaranya, some people say he is Shayana, Some people say Shayana was brother of Vidyaranya. Either way, the most prevalent explanation for Veda happened when Vijayanagara Empire was established, and that Bhashya is known as Shayana. Na. Sayana Bhashya. And Yajurveda had, prior to Shayana Bhashya, Yajurveda had a prominent sage who did Vyakhyan for Yajurveda. His name was Bhatta Bhaskara. And prior to all, the etymology of Vedic words, because the Vedas are not the Sanskrit what we and Panini do, they are in ancient form, which is known as Vedic language. So to know, understand the root of the word, there was a guy called Niruktam. Understanding was done by a person who did the Nirukta. Based on that Niruktam, Shayana and Bhatta Bhaskara did the translation. And then Arya Samaj, Dayananda Saraswati started doing. Those are all later days. And then say Aurobindo had his own interpretation of Veda. Then in the 18th century to 19th century, Westerners started interpreting the Veda, and the most prominent was Oxford-based Max Muller. Then before Max Muller, how did the Western people understand Veda? How did the Western people came to know that is something called Veda? We studied in 1765. J.Z. Holwell wrote in his report to the directors of East India Company that the scripture for these gentis or Hindus is Shashta or Vedam. Vedam, Vedam. But prior to that, okay, the first and foremost who understood the importance of Veda was Aurangzeb's brother. I'm talking non-Sanatanis. Don't confuse. I'm talking about non-Sanatanis who understood there is something called Veda and their importance. Non-Sanatanis. Carefully watch. I'm not talking about Sanatanis. Among the non-Sanatanis, Dara Shaiko, he was an elder brother to Aurangzeb. He translated certain portions of Upanishads into Persian. That text was received by a German philosopher called Arthur Schopenhauer. 19th century. He was somewhere in the late 1700 to 1860. More or less similar time to Max Muller. He was the first one. Arthur Schopenhauer. S-H-O-F-E-N Haurer. H-A-U-R-E-R. Arthur Schopenhauer got hold of this Dara Shako's Persian translation of some passage of Upanishad. And then he started digging more on Upanishad and he translated that into German. So while he was in Germany. This Max Muller is a German but settled in Oxford University. He got an idea and he started collecting Rig Veda. So he started translating Rig Veda. Max Muller and Arthur Schopenhauer. And Arthur Schopenhauer told the Western world is Upanishads are mine for strength. He is the one who said Upanishads are good. They are like a mine. They are like surang. Upanishads are like surang, mine for strength, Atma strength. And he says it is a solace for life and it will be solace for death. You want to live? You want to go do good thing after your death? You read Upanishad. So Upanishads are mine for strength and they are solace for life and they are soulless for death. Swami Vivekananda, during his preaching, refers to Arthur Schopenhauer. Only during the past 50 years, Veda Prachar became big and people started learning Veda in a big way. Only 50, 60 years back, after 1950. Prior to 1950, Vedas were only very few. And Vedas survived more in southern India than northern India. That is the reason Vedic Pandits and Vedic way is more strict in South India compared to North India. North India mein bhakti. Whereas the strength of Vedic Pandits and Purohit is more because South India was not invaded by Mughals. Mughals destroyed everything. South India, to the south of Deccan Plateau, these Mughals did not come much. So Vedas preserved more in south compared to north. So relatively speaking, the Purohits are very strict in adhering what is said in Vedas, learning, memorizing. South India may without pustak, like I do. I don't see pustak. Likewise, you don't do Veda by reading. South India, they are very strict. North India, to aisa nahi hai. They see book. And in North India, predominantly it is Shukla Yajurveda. Okay, so these are the divisions. Then, how do they recite Veda? For Veda, it is Shabda. The Swara are more important. And there are three major ways of reciting Veda that is prevalent in India. The first one is known as Varanasi Paddhati. Sahasradhirisha Purusha Sahasraksha Sahasrapat Sabhumim Visvato Visva. That is Varanasi Paddhati. Same like this, up and down, up and down. Whereas with Suswara, Sahasradhirisha Purusha Sahasraksha Sahasrapat Sabhumim Vishvato Vritva Atyadishtadasangulam. That is Suswara. Niyamena Paddhati is known as Dravida Paddhati. That is more prevalent from Narmada Tir, Krishna mein, Godavari mein, Rajamundri, Godavari, in Krishna, Krishnanagar, in all the Krishna Tat, Godavari Tat, Tungabhadra Tat, Narmada Tat, Kaveri Tat, Tambrabarni Tat mein. That is known as Dravida Paddhati. And in Kerala, the Nambudri Brahmins have their own way of recitation known as Nambudri Paddhati. So right now there are three major paddhatis. Shukla Yajurveda has its own paddhati. Shukla Yajurveda paddhati is more or less similar to Varanasi paddhati. So Varanasi paddhati, that's what you see in North India Purohits or mostly would do the Shukla Yajurveda, or when they recite Yajurveda, Krishna Yajurveda, it will have the similarity between Shukla Yajurveda. That is known as Varanasi paddhati. And in all southern India, it will have Dravida Paddhati. And in Kerala and southern Karnataka, it's not wherever the special sect of Kerala Brahmins called Nambutiris, they have their own way of recitation. So there are three types of recitations left. Varanasi Paddhati, for I'm talking about Krishna Yajurveda. Varanasi Paddhati, Samaved has its own with music. I'm talking about Yajurveda. For Krishna Yajurveda, three different way of recitation. Varanasi Paddhati, Dravida Paddhati, Nambudri Paddhati. And Atharva Veda is not sung with Swara because it is now only imbibed later days. And the Vedas are then, these are the divisions of Vedas. How do you group Vedas? Vedas are grouped into four. It's like you say it is a book. Chapters. The major chapter of Veda is known as anthology of Veda are known as Samhita. Samhita is mantra bhag. And then the explanation of the mantra brag is known as Brahmana. You should not say Brahmana. For this alone, if Hakara comes, you pronounce it as Makara. That is Paniniya. But when it comes to Veda, you don't say Brahmanam, you say Brahmanam. So the explanation of that mantra bhaga, the mantra bhaga is known as Samhita. The English name for Samhita is anthology or compilation. And the explanation of those mantras, where to be used, how to use, which is known as utility of mantra, is known as prayoga, and that is described in Brahmana bhaga. Or it is simply known as shaka. Don't confuse. They also call in South India Brahmana as shaka. Let's not confuse. Then the later part of that Veda, where it was propagated in forests, that is known as Aranyaka. And the end of Aranyaka is known as Upanishad or Vedanta. So, no matter whatever shaka it is divided into four. It doesn't matter whether Shaka or Bhaskala Shaka or Maitrayani Shaka or Krishna Taitriya Shaka. They are divided into four big sections: Samhita, Brahmana, Aranyaka, Upanishad or Vedantam. So Vedas are the gospel for Sanatana Dharma. Vedas Samhita Bhaga are predominantly talks about karma, yajna yagadi. And those karma which are prescribed in Veda are known as Srautam. Vivah, Upanayana, Udagasanti, and Pumsuvana, Simantonayanam. These are not prescribed in Veda. But using Veda mantra, rishis prescribed. So they are known as Smarta Karma. Those karmas that are prescribed in Vedas are known as Srauta Karma. And those are what? They are basically Darshapurna Ishti, Stalipakam, Sapta Somayaham, Ahoratram, Ashwamedham, Rajasuyam. Vivaha, Upanayana, Jatakarma, Namakarna. 40 samskaras are there. Right from the birth till Apara samskara, death. They are divided into 40. And these are using the Veda Bhogas, but not prescribed in Veda, but they are prescribed by rishis, known as these, hence they are known as Smarta Karma. Shrauta Karma, Smarta Karma. Then comes Deva Karma, that is known as Puja. Gayatri, Varalakshmi, Varamahalakshmi Puja, Shivaratri Puja, Krishna Jayanti Puja. Those are all Bhakti Prakatanam. Those are all done later days, where you take some portions from Agama, you take some portion from Veda, some portion from Stuti, some portion from later day saints. So, Karma Kanda prescribes Srauta Karma, which are big yagas. Then rishis took these Veda Bhaga and then compiled them to do the 40 samskaras. Ajananati Marana Paryantam. Okay. Then came Bhakti Prakatanam using all the Puja Vidhi. We call them Puja Vidhi. And who are the rishis that gave all these? They are known as Apastamba, Bodhayana, Yajnavalka, like this. And predominant is Apastamba in Yajurveda, then Bodhayana. So we now studied 1 hour of this class on Veda. Veda is the basic gospel for Sanatana Dharma. And those who believe Vedas are known as Astika. Asti iti Astika. Na asti iti Nastika. Those who believe in the tenets of Veda are Astikas. Those who do not believe Veda, They may even believe God. They may even believe or don't believe God. That's not an issue. The Sanatana Dharma dictates Veda is the absolute supreme text. Those who believe are known as Astikas. Those who do not believe Vedas are known as Nastikas. Vidajnane. Vid means the verbal root is to know. So Manu says all the dharma, VedOkilO dharma Moolam jagati. Manusmriti, Veda Akhila. It is for entire dharma mool. धर्म का मूल समस्त धर्म का मूल क्या वेदो वेदः अखिल धर्म मूलम जगत. Then when you combine Veda plus Akila becomes VedOkilO dharma moolam jagat. Okay. So the class 4 concentrated on Veda. The total number of shakas 1037, of which 14 is prevalent, of which 10 may be reciting form. सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै. ओम शांति शांति शांति. शुभम मंगलानि भवन्तु.